Welcome to 4-H for You, a podcast from the Hoosier Act Today presents your Purdue Extension Podcast Network, brought to you by Indiana Farm Bureau, a unified voice for agriculture. I'm your host, Greg Allen, and today we're giving you an inside look at one of the most recognizable leadership roles in Indiana 4-H, the Indiana 4-H Ambassador Program. Stay tuned.
At Indiana Farm Bureau, we serve tree farmers, goat farmers, and in fact, all farmers. With over 250,000 members, Indiana Farm Bureau represents a broad range of farmers and puts power in your collective voice. You also get advice from our subject matter experts, more affordable health plan options, and support for youth programs statewide. So whether you grow soybeans or strawberries, membership means you'll be heard. Become a member today at infb.org.
If you've ever wondered what it takes to become an ambassador, what the selection process looks like, or how members can prepare to apply, today's guests have the answers. Joining us is Sydney Bauman, Indiana 4-H Ambassador from Fulton County, and Morgan Keith, Ambassador from Johnson County, who will walk us through how new ambassadors are selected, what the committee is looking for, and why serving as an ambassador is such a rewarding experience. Sydney, Morgan, thank you so much for joining me today on 4-H for You.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, so to start, tell us a little bit about yourself and your 4-H journey. Sydney, we'll just start with you.
My name is Sydney Bauman. I'm from Fulton County. I've been in 4-H since I was very young. I was in mini 4-H when I was in early elementary school, and then started 4-H when I was in third grade. And I really got into 4-H and I started showing dogs when I was in third grade. And that has kind of been one of my main projects for the whole time. And I also do projects like fine arts, electric are two of my favorites. And I have participated in junior leaders in 4-H ever since I was in sixth grade, which kind of got me into more of that leadership role and got me more involved so that I started getting more involved at the state level and then eventually became an ambassador.
And what about you, Morgan?
Well, hello. My name is Morgan Keith. I'm a 9-year 4-H member, but you can count me as an 11-year if you count my mini 4-H years. 4-H has really been a big part of my family. All of my step-siblings have done it. My parents were 4-H members, so it was a no-brainer that I was going to be a 4-H member too. In my 9 years of 4-H, I've shown goats for 9 years, and then this will be my second year showing swine, which is my personal favorite project. I've done all kinds of static projects, and then I also used to be that shy, quiet kid in the back of every meeting room, and my leadership experience really taught me the importance of being a role model and having role models because they each inspired me to step up to all the leadership positions I stepped up to. So I'm a Johnson County Helping Hands, my primary club's president, and then I serve as our Johnson County Junior Leaders secretary. And then I also am a county 4-H ambassador, which led me to this, being an Indiana State 4-H ambassador.
Morgan, I have a really hard time believing that you were the shy, quiet kid. You're just very, very well spoken and a joy to have. Of course, we've had you on the program before, and you did just an amazing job. But
Well,
okay,
thank you so much.
next question, and we'll go with you, Sydney, on this one. What inspired you to apply to become an Indiana 4-H ambassador?
I started doing the first state level activities when I was in middle school and I went to 4-H Roundup for the first time. And when I was there, I saw the ambassadors because they spoke and they were there with us. And so then I was in like seventh grade. So obviously I wasn't old enough to apply yet, but I was like, oh, that might be something I'm interested in the future. And so I kept doing those things. I got a little older. I went to 4-H Academy, kept going to Roundup. And I decided when I was a freshman to apply. And I did not, unfortunately, get accepted my first year, but I kept going to more events. I went to Teen Leadership Weekend, Day at the State House, and I kept seeing more of the ambassadors. I'm like, okay, I want to try again. So I did it again, and now here I am. And I've really enjoyed getting to lead those activities that I enjoyed so much in earlier years.
Morgan, what about you?
Yeah, so I actually didn't know much about the Indiana State 4-H Ambassador Program. My extension educator sent it to our county ambassador group email and was like, one of you should have applied, like, should apply for this. And I'm the type of person that's like, yes is always the best answer. I want to try new things and I want to put myself out there. So I went ahead and applied. And I had no idea what I was stepping into, and I remember I was like, "Oh my goodness, I don't think this is where I'm gonna, like, end up being," and I remember I got the email that was like, "You made it," and I was like, "Oh my gosh, no way they chose me." So I never really understood, or had any idea about the Indiana State 4-H Ambassador Program, and then once I walked through the process, I literally recommend this program to anyone that I know from my county or outside the counties. Even if they don't know about it, I just say they'll teach you a lot more and you'll learn so much more about the Indiana State 4-H.
Sydney, what are the primary responsibilities of an Indiana 4-H ambassador throughout the year?
Do is help to lead events and then just promote 4-H as a whole. So we have led events like 4-H Day at the State House, Teen Leadership Weekend, which we actually had a really big role in that one because we even were on the planning committee and helped plan all the events and activities there, and then led groups. 4-H Roundup and Academy we were at, and then just other events to represent 4-H. And then some of us have like kind of gone and done stuff on a smaller scale, but still representing 4-H as ambassadors. And so it's really just a lot of promoting 4-H, leading events, and helping plan stuff.
Morgan, in your opinion, why is the ambassador program such an important part of Indiana 4-H?
I love that. Well, the Indiana State 4-H ambassadors are really the voice of Indiana 4-H. We sat through meetings on a retreat with the Dean of Agriculture at Purdue and all of the other important people at Purdue, but then we also got to meet our governor and all kinds of legislative figures at our retreat at the Indiana State Fair Pork Breakfast. And we got to talk a lot about our 4-H experiences and journeys, and it was really cool that we were able to share that with those who make our decisions in the State House. And then we get to use our voice in order to help them make their decisions. And I also think it's just really cool that we're making our state more aware of 4-H and all of the opportunities that it has to give us.
It seems like a big responsibility. Does it feel like one?
Yeah, kinda.
Sydney, can you walk us through the application and selection process for new ambassadors?
First apply in the spring, and you have to, fill out a written application with all your experiences and kind of like why you want to be an ambassador, as well as submit a video. And so all those applications are gone through and sorted through, the videos are all watched, and then you can be selected to do an interview. So once we're selected to do an interview, you do those, and you do that with, a couple of our leaders plus a few of the current ambassadors, and then us ambassadors play a big role in actually selecting the next class of ambassadors based on their videos and their interviews and everything. And so we do that as a group, and we've selected our next class of ambassadors this past at 4-H Roundup and Academy. So it was a good experience to be able to see all those people because there's so many great applicants.
So, does that mean that you're on the selection committee, or is there like a different selection committee?
Yeah, so any of us ambassadors from this year, we were all able to participate and kind of chip in with the selection process, and we just did that all together.
Morgan, what qualities or characteristics do you, as the selection committee, look for in applicants?
Yeah, so some of the qualities that I personally was looking for is knowledge of 4-H, Um, it's important to know what you're talking about whenever you're talking to people. So, having that knowledge of 4 H and the way you can prepare for that is just becoming more active. Go to the state events, attend your county events, get involved in your county's junior leaders programs if they have that. Anything that will help you become more active in 4 H will definitely help you with your knowledge of 4 H. And another thing I was looking for is just someone that's friendly. When we wear our green jackets or our polos, we're really intimidating in the room, but nobody wants to approach us. So being able to approach somebody else and being friendly and making them feel welcome was really important. And we can kind of see that in your interview just through your personality. So I really enjoyed that part of watching interviews. And then also just someone who was well like spoken and understood how to talk to others clearly and effectively. It was very important that whenever we're talking to some of those bigger faces within Indiana, it's important that you are able to communicate effectively.
Well, I gotta say that if I find myself applying to be a 4-H ambassador, I hope you too are part of the selection committee because you don't seem that intimidating to me. We're going to take a short break here, girls, and when we come back with 4-H for you, I'm going to talk about common misconceptions about becoming an Indiana 4-H ambassador. So stay tuned.
Farming isn't just a job, it's the foundation of life. Farmers feed us, fuel our future, and pass down traditions built on hope and hard work. At Farm Credit Mid-America, we know farming is more than a profession, it's a legacy. That's why we stand shoulder to shoulder with farmers, offering agricultural loans, insurance, and education. Because we're not just here for farmers, we're owned by them. Farming matters, and we're proud to honor it every day.
We're back with Sydney and Morgan, 4-H ambassadors. Before the break, girls, we were talking about the application process for becoming an ambassador. Sydney, what does the interview process look like and how can applicants best prepare for it?
We do the interviews over Zoom since everyone is, from all around the state. And we really ask them a few questions about themselves, their leadership experience, and then also about like 4 H and maybe some things that they would like to take home with themselves from the program and some things that they would like to give back. So I think really the best way to prepare for this interview or really any interview is to really like focus on what you know about yourself and kind of think about that before you even go into it and think about what you want to do in this role and just kind of prepare. I personally, I don't never felt like practicing interview questions has ever done much for me. Instead, I just kind of make sure that I know myself well and can talk about myself.
That's good advice. Morgan, what advice would you give someone who's interested in applying but isn't maybe sure that they're ready for it?
My advice would be to try it. If you don't make it, there is potentially always a next year. And I always say that if one door closes, another door opens and leads to a better opportunity. So, the worst that you could do is apply and get told no. It's the best experience just putting yourself out there on a video, even introducing yourself. And then it's really, really good leadership skills that you earn from doing an interview and answering our questions. So, you'll definitely gain a lot of skills you'll use in your life, and then you'll also gain a lot of leadership and honestly just self-confidence, knowing that you can do it. So I definitely would just say try it and do it.
Before the break, Sydney, I mentioned that I wanted to talk about maybe some common misconceptions that people might have about becoming a 4-H ambassador. Can you go over some of those, or do you know of any that people may have, or maybe that you even had before you became an ambassador?
People may think that ambassadors are kind of like the most top-notch, unrealistic leaders, the best public speakers ever. Like we, obviously have some level of those skills to get into this position, but we keep developing them as we, serve. And so it's really not as unrealistic as one might think. Because if you are like, "Oh, I'm not the best public speaker, I couldn't be an ambassador," like, maybe you can, you can learn those skills over time.
That's a very good point. So, this question really is for both of you. Morgan, we'll start with you. What skills have you developed through serving as an ambassador?
Yeah, I love that. I tell everyone that when I walked into being an Indiana State 4-H ambassador, I had no idea what I wanted to do as a career. And then at the end of this year, I've realized that my experience talking to those within legislation has led me to wanting to work within legislation and also education. So that's where I'll end up being. And I credit that all to being a State 4 H ambassador because it's really shown me my interest. And another thing, and this was kind of something I didn't know that I was like, I really need to work on that, but this just kind of helped me work on it. And that's the ability to carry a conversation. I have no issue going up to start one. And then once I start it, it's like, hi, like, and then it's like, what do I say? But this experience has definitely helped me to be more friendly and carry a conversation and make conversation.
And what about you, Sydney?
Skills that I've gained from this experience is just working with people. We have a group of 10 ambassadors. We have to work together. And, when we first started on our retreat, most of us had like never met each other before. And honestly, a lot of us just kind of really like clicked and we just were able to start working with each other. And we had to, learn a lot about each other in a short span of time. But we were able to do so many things with each other, like plan team leadership weekend and just being able to work with each other and collaborate is such a great skill. And even if you're not a 4-H ambassador, like going to like team leadership weekend, we get in groups and we work together to make presentations with people that you've never met before 2 days ago. And I think that these are just such valuable experiences to be able to work with people that either you do know well or you don't know well. And I think that's one of the most valuable things I've gained.
Well, I think all this leads to my favorite question of the whole entire program right here. And it's for both of you. We'll start with Morgan first. Share a favorite memory or an experience from your time as an ambassador.
Yeah, so my favorite experience was definitely our retreat. That's the first event that we do, and honestly, you don't know who you're going to do it with. We just get the email that we made it and retreat details, and then you have no idea who else made the ambassador selection. So you kind of walk in blind, and I remember I was so scared to walk into the retreat and be like, "Oh, I have to spend the next 3 days with these people." And it was really like 30 minutes, and we all became best friends. And we still talk today. We have a big group chat, and we're all just really great friends. And when some of us do FFA together, so we see each other at those events, and it's a lot of fun because we're just at the end of the day, we're working as a team, but we're a really good team because we're such great friends. So getting to know everybody and becoming such good friends with all of them has really been my favorite memory.
Sydney?
That retreat was really fun, but I'll say I really enjoyed spending time with the other ambassadors at Teen Leadership Weekend. Um, I was in a group with another one of the ambassadors leading it, and we had such a great time with the other kids in the group and putting together the presentation, and then just outside of that, hanging out with all the other ambassadors and all the other great people who were at the leadership weekend and going to the dance and just making all these fun memories and getting able to spend time together, and it was a ton of fun.
It sounds like I want to be part of the ambassador team there. Morgan, what opportunities has this role opened up for you personally and professionally?
Yeah, I would say the biggest opportunity that it's opened up with me is up for me is networking. I didn't ever know the importance of networking until junior year, which has been this year. And understanding that these connections I make now are really important connections. So it's definitely gave me the chance to work with Annie at the Indiana Farm Bureau, who's the youth engagement coordinator, and all of our legislative people. It's really been a great experience, especially for someone like me who has interest in working within the state and the future, it's been really good to make those connections. So I know that there's always someone that can give me advice, and also someone who is just there to share their knowledge with me.
Sydney, what would you say to county educators or volunteers who are encouraging members to apply?
Definitely keep doing that and tell them like that it's such a great experience even if you're not chosen, just the application, because as young adults going into the world, we're going to need to have these skills that we're gaining even just from the application process, the interview, the making the video. It's just things that I feel like aren't always maybe taught in school and whatnot, and I think that this is a great way to learn them. And then if you are chosen, it's such an excellent experience. I've met some of my closest friends through this program, and I've just had such a great time. So I think it's definitely worth applying if you're interested in, developing your skills.
And Morgan, finally, where can interested 4-H members find more information about the application process and the deadlines for it?
Yeah, so the deadline for this year has already passed and we selected our next year's team. But if you're interested, you can definitely find information for next year's application process on Purdue Extension's website under the Indiana State 4-H Ambassador Program. If you look up Indiana State 4-H Ambassadors, that'll probably be the first site that pops up. And then it'll have the application link and then all the information that you need. And also, feel free to reach out to any of us. There's the Indiana State 4-H Ambassador Instagram. You can DM that account, or you can find any of us on that Instagram and DM us, or find our emails through Rachel, and we'll be happy to help you and give you advice.
Sydney, thank you so much for joining us. Morgan, you as well. Ladies, always a pleasure to have you on. And just a programming note, we're going to have you on next month for 4H4U as well, talking about fair preparedness. So I hope you're prepared to talk about being prepared. Thanks for joining me, ladies.
Thank you so much.
Our thanks to Indiana 4-H Ambassadors Sydney Bauman and Morgan Keith for giving us an inside look at the Ambassador Program and the process of selecting the next group of student leaders. If you're thinking about applying, remember that the Ambassador Program is more than a title. It's an opportunity to represent Indiana 4-H, develop leadership skills, build lifelong friendships, and make a positive impact on members across the state. To learn more about the Indiana 4-H Ambassador Program, application requirements, and upcoming deadlines, contact your local Purdue Extension office or visit the Indiana 4-H website. Thanks for listening to 4H4U. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode highlighting the people and programs that make Indiana 4-H an experience that lasts a lifetime. 4H4U is a podcast from the Hoosier Ag Today Presents Your Purdue Extension Podcast Network, brought to you by Indiana Farm Bureau, a unified voice for agriculture. I'm Greg Allen. We'll see you next time.